Rev up your engines! All right, it's electronics today. I've been testing out a bunch of stuff, and I've got some interesting electronic products that kind of fascinated me. You might find them interesting. Now, everything is going electronic, so here's my power backup system. It's made by Blue Eddy, and it is phenomenally powerful. I tried out other ones when we went camping out in the woods of Tennessee, and we're hot inside the cabin. I tried electric fans. It would run a stupid little electric fan like 4 or 5 hours and run out of power. Not this thing. This is a true power backup. This isn't something that, oh, you can plug your cell phones or your computer, electronics, or nothing else. No, this is serious. These are both battery packs, and this is the control unit. I turn on one battery pack, the unit itself automatically comes on. We're gonna run AC, so push AC. AC on, all right? AC is now on. I'm gonna run an electric impact wrench. It's got a whole bunch of plugs. We'll just stick it in this one. 120 volts. Look at that, no problem. When the power went out here in Rhode Island, I ran the impact. I ran grinders. I ran an air compressor. All off of this unit. 12 volt DC 30 amps. 24 volts DC 10 amps. You got the C for your phone. USBs up the wazoo. Then we go to 120 volts. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 20 amperes and one big 30 ampere. Hey, maybe your power went out and your wife's yelling at you because everything's dirty. You can plug the washing machine into this thing. And if you wondered what this thing is, circuit checker for RVs or anything you want to use 120 volts for, you got the plug here and it analyzes the circuit. A lot of guys with RVs don't trust the power when they plug it up, but check out this. Since that's a 30 ampere and this is a 30 ampere, look, plugs right in. Hey, checks the circuit, make sure it's safe. You can now plug your RV in here. But I don't have an RV, so when the power ran out, I plugged the washing machine into this, and yes, it washed. And since I got 2 battery packs on this baby, and man, let me tell you, they're heavy. When I took them out of the boxes, these things are almost 100 pounds for each battery. Nickel iron phosphate batteries. I found these used to be really rugged. Now you can recharge it with AC power here, or DC power. And when you check out the heftiness, these are Sears cables. These are cables just like they use to charge up electric cars. I gotta say, this impressed the heck out of me. I've tried other systems, they were weak and wimpy. Now, if you're one of those off-the-grid guys, they're great power supplies. You could use solar panels to charge them up. Yeah, it would take a long time for a solar panel to charge one of these fully, but you keep it running all the time, there's no saying. And if you're going somewhere where you need power, you can charge them up at home and bring them. You'll have a lot of power you can use before you run out. You see a lot of portable tools with little battery packs, right? Little battery packs. This is altogether about 285 pounds worth of battery packs. There's a lot of power in this thing. I'm totally impressed. Use it for power outages, use it for whatever you want. The fact you can run full speed an electric impact wrench, that sold the deal to me. And did it use up a lot of power? No, it's still at the exact 68% it was at before. Like I said, you can put DC, you can put AC, you can put DC, you can do all kinds of stuff. Now, if you own a Japanese car, you might find this scanner excellent because it is made just for Japanese vehicles at a decent price point that does a lot. Called the PS701 Pro. I'll show you how it works on the Matrix. It does an awful lot, but only on Japanese cars. But let's think about it. If you only own Japanese cars, why would you want to pay for all the software that I have to pay for as a professional mechanic? You only need the stuff for your car. Why pay for stuff you're never going to use? So we'll just plug it into the data port. It's amazing what this tool can do. Drive system, chassis system, body system. We'll check drive system. Transmission, actuator test. You can actuate, fuel pump, reset control unit. You can do all kinds of things with this. You can read the computer, trouble codes, live data. I mean, look at all the stuff it could do. Voltage, a fuel pump. This is insane. I realize this one was $269. All that information, stuff that I get on my $800 or $1,500 or $5,000 scan tool. Now, yeah, it only works on Japanese cars. What a job it does. A lot of us own Japanese cars only. Imagine that somebody's come up with something like this. Because really, why would you buy all that other crap if you own Japanese cars? If you own a Japanese car, why would you go out and buy all this other stuff? Those BMWs, Ford, GMs, you don't care. This is pretty good for Japanese cars, let me tell you. Now realize this X2 is a really new device. I'm sure they're probably going to make them for other cars. This is just for Japanese cars now. But realize that it's pretty much just out of beta testing. So you might get some glitches here and there for the time being, but I've got a lot of X tools and I'm impressed by their stuff. I mean, $600-700 one that they have. I was really impressed with what it could do, and the thing was $269 for a do-it-yourselfer or even for a mechanic. It can do an awful lot for Japanese cars, and I'm sure they'll upgrade the software as time goes on. Now, the last electronic thing I'm going to talk about is this mechanic light. Pretty cool. It's got all kinds of angles on it. What I like about it is it's bright, but you can place it wherever you want. You can change the light degree. It's going to stay where it is. If you want to hang it, you can hang it. You can lock it in place so it doesn't fall off. You can easily unlock it, but it's nothing worse than something that falls off where you're doing your work. And it's got the old school connector, not the C one, but the one that the old Sonys and Panasonics used to use to recharge it. Now, I've had this thing for 4.5 years. And I do have to say, it works perfectly fine. And it reaches in funky little places. You're working on an engine, you can stick it in there, move it around, it'll stay in place. But since it's thin, you can easily light stuff up. And it lasts quite some time. If I talk too fast for you, here it is, Mechanic. That's the company that makes them. And I gotta say, real handy tool. Plus it makes a nice lightsaber. Your kids can fight with it. They'll probably fight over getting their hands on it. Then they'll start whacking each other over the head with it too. And as I said, this is long term. I've been using almost 4 years now. A little electric motorcycle, I've had that for like 6 months. I'm having fun. We'll shoot some more stuff with this in the summer when it warms up. It's too cold and rainy at the moment. But then again, it's been sitting there all winter in a freezing cold garage. There's no heat in this garage. So we'll see how the battery holds up on this thing, see if it's worthwhile or not. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Cindy says, hey, I got a Nissan Pulsar, 207,000 miles. I backed into a pole hard. Then it didn't seem to run right, but I was able to get it home. What should I do? Well, depending on how bashed your car is, it's an old Pulsar with 207,000 miles. It's probably not worth fixing. Bodywork is very expensive. But on the other hand, a lot of people drive around with cars that are smashed up. As long as your brake lights work and the car runs okay. Now, if you did hit a pole really hard, what you want to do is look around under there and see if any wiring was damaged and fix that, because it might have damaged the wiring to the electric fuel pump and that might not work. You want to check all the wiring and stuff. But do look at it. I mean, if it's really bashed in, you're going to find out getting it repaired is more money than the car's worth. It's not even worth doing. Bodywork's expensive, and if it's really bashed in, like you hit the pole in the middle and it's all crunched in, you can't even open the trunk. Unless you want to have a car you can't open the trunk in, it's probably time to just get rid of the car. It costs a fortune to repair big bodywork on a car, and a Pulsar with 207,000 miles isn't worth much. So you might be the end of your car back into that pole if you hit it hard enough. But if not, you don't mind driving it. Check all the wires and stuff. Make sure no wires have been broken. And if they are, put them back together. And if you're not really mechanical, take it to a guy like me, and I'd look at it and say, oh, look, these wires, we'll just fix this wiring short, and then just drive it that way if you don't mind driving a car that's smashed in the back. Just make sure the brake lights and turn signals work so people won't run into you because they can't see you're stopping or turning. Melinda Zig says, I got an 04 Mazda. My clutch pedal doesn't bounce back fully. A new clutch was placed 7,000 miles ago. Okay, well, it's probably not your clutch inside. The hydraulics, when you step on the clutch, there's a clutch master cylinder, and that pushes the pressure to the slave that pushes the clutch inside the transmission so you can shift. If it's not popping the whole way back up, odds are your master cylinder's going out. So replace that. But really, to me, 18-year-old Mazda, change the master and the slave, change them both together. Then you don't have to think about it. They work together. If one's old and worn, the master's old and worn, the slave, replace them both, bleed their out, it'll probably go back to normal because you already had the clutch replaced 7,000 miles ago. And they won't pop back up when the clutch hydraulics start to go bad. You replace them both. I got videos on how to replace them. Just watch them. It's not hard to do. It's pretty easy. And change them both. And then you won't have to think about it for ages. Francis Isle says, some of the rubbers on my windshield are coming apart and not sticking. What do you recommend? What kind of adhesive to put them back on? If you want to try, the easiest thing is to clean it all good with isopropyl alcohol. Let it dry for 5 minutes. Get all the crud off. Then get 3M weather stripping adhesive, because that's weather stripping. Put it on. Let it dry overnight. That should fix it. Now, let's say it's really going kind of bad and that doesn't work. Then what I use is JB Weld. JB Weld has a 5-minute drying, quick epoxy. It's called JB Weld Quick, and it's one of those marketing things. It's spelled K-W-I-K. You know, spell it wrong. Oh, look, it's cute. But the stuff really does work. Now, it's a little messier to work with, so try the 3M first. It might hold it on fine. That's just in a tube that goes, and then you put it on, wipe the excess, and let it dry overnight. But if that doesn't work, the JB Weld Quick will just about put anything and hold it on there for years and years and years. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.